Deportation is a key goal of the Trump administration. For now, the main target are illegal immigrants and visitors overstaying their visas. But once those goals are met, could American citizens be next? That worry is based on a very real memo issued last month by the Justice Department. Attorneys there say the deportation net should be widened to focus on anyone who, quote, pose a potential danger to national security. And they could do it by using an old law to kick Nazis and communists out of the country. Here to break down how this process works and who would be most at risk is Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, certainly a talker here, and immigration at the heart of this matter.
Well, absolutely at the heart. Anytime you're talking about Nazis, McCarthy, any of those types of things, it takes you back to an era that this country was doing a number of things. At that moment, obviously trying to get war criminals out of the country and trying to get them that were coming in here illegally, or I should say obtain their naturalization through some improper means. But this goes directly to what the Trump administration was talking about they've wanted to do with not just immigration, but with a number of things. The memorandum starts off by saying that Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi has given the civil division, that's the division that's going to be handling this, a number of enforcement authorities, and they want them to go with these directives. First, combating discriminatory practices and policies. So that's the DEI approach. Trump campaigned on that. A number of agencies have companies have already fallen in line. Ending anti-Semitism, and then protecting women and children. But the last one, and the one that we talked about here, this is this prioritizing this maximum pursuit of denaturalization proceedings in all cases permitted by law and supported by evidence. And so they list about 10 factors for folks to look at. If you've had some gang activity, if you've committed felonies in the past, if you've been engaged in human trafficking. But the one that probably will pose the most issue is this: cases against individuals who pose a potential danger to national security. That's that wide net you talk about, which it can be
very
anything.
vague. It could be anybody, and you're talking about American citizens at this point where they're being targeted.
I mean, one example is the current Democratic presumptive nominee for the mayor of New York City. They're already asking for an investigation to be launched against him.
Pam Bondi, right?
Right. They're saying that this is a person that because he did a rap video that supported, Hamas, or seemed to encourage Hamas behavior, that now this is someone that would go against, and it would fall under, I would assume, if I'm looking at this list, under number one, which is pose a potential danger to national security. Because when I look at the section that they cite in here, they go and say cases available under 8 U.S.C. 1451. I went and pulled it up. 1451 talks about concealment of material evidence. So I would assume they're not saying he's done that. They'll give this party notice, but it's that membership in certain organizations is a prima facie case of evidence. So they're saying maybe because you've supported them through some rap song that now you are a member or a participant in this group, not just that you're supporting them from afar, but you're now somehow connected to them. That's going to be the part that's the scariest of this thing right here. I mean, because if you look back to those types of trials, if you look back at those types of hearings, they were kind of witch hunts. Like, okay, one person may have said they saw you connected to a group, and now your whole life is upended. That's going to be the hardest part, to try to figure out, well, where do all the chips fall when this thing ends?
Yeah, like you said, it was a very vague, it lets them cast a wide net, but it's also the point to strike fear in immigrants' families that are already here, the politicization of citizenship rights.
I think it's been politicized prior to Trump taking office. This just has amplified it and intensified it. I mean, and I got to be clear, a lot of the things within this memorandum are very, very specific. As I said, if you've engaged in torture, okay, that's going to be one. If you've engaged in unlawful criminal enterprises as a gang or some terrorist organization, that'll be one. If you've committed a felony, if you've engaged in human trafficking. So they're very specific. But then when they're not specific, I think that's probably the most problematic. And I'll see that they'll be able to expedite, I should say, more people underneath Section 1. Because even under here, it says, in any other cases referred to the civil division that do not fit in any of these other ones that we've listed. So if you combine number 1 and number 9, I think that's kind of like a catch-all. That's what we'd say in law school. Okay, it didn't fit under here. It didn't have the elements for this case, but you got this one over here to the side. So even if you didn't get caught by any of these other ways that we can get you deported, we'll be able to get you by a combination of 1 and 9. which I think is going to open up the door for a lot more. If you look back at the numbers, first Trump administration, they went through this process, the denaturalization process, 100 folks. Biden administration, only 25. We're only 5 months into the Trump administration's second term, and he's already went through 5 folks. and that was before this memorandum came out. I would suggest that after the end of the 6 months after this, that they will probably exceed the 100 folks number of denaturalization that they did in this entire first term, because there's an overemphasis in it, and there's a budget and funding to support doing this.
All right, we're going to track this and to see where it goes. Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rose, thanks.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.